You're a fucking retard, sold out. Go fucking kill yourself, dumb shit. You're a fucking idiot. When you're playing a story game, you gotta pay attention to the story, dumb shit. Eat shit and die, fuckhead.
Hello everybody, Gamer here, and this is a video that I don't really normally do, at all, because usually I don't talk about drama stuff, but in this case, I think it's probably worth talking about a little bit of drama and whatever, even though I don't want to. So, Yandere Simulator and YandereDev. So, for those of you who don't know, YandereDev, also known as Alex Mahan, I think his last name is creating a game called Yandere Simulator, where you play as a high school student who has a crush on this boy, as this boy is the only thing that gives her any meaning to live, as she completely feels empty on the outside, but yet this one boy seems to fill her with a lot of life for whatever reason. So it's your job to pretty much eliminate any single girl that tries to be with your senpai, with the first rival being Osana. And within a span of 10 weeks, 10 girls coincidentally try to get with your senpai, which is absolutely ridiculous, but hey, a little bit of over-exaggeration can be fun, right? But anyway, this is a game that I've been following for quite a while, honestly. I think I've been following it probably since 2015, I think. I'm not sure what year exactly. Yeah, okay, so looking at his YouTube channel, I have been following the development for quite a while. I just need to figure out where the starting point was. I think it was around the eavesdropping, notes, lockers, and fake suicide about 5 years ago. I think it was around this moment. Or, no, actually, I think it was around the dumpsters, like after his April Fool's video. I think it was around this point I started to follow the development after I was seeing other gamers like, PewDiePie, Markiplier, and such covering this game. So yeah, this was back in 2015. So yeah, it was 2015 I started following the development. And for a while, it seemed like a very promising game. So it's a game that I followed for a while, for pretty much 5 years, going from his implementation of the sanity features, the atmosphere, using gossip to bully a student so that way senpai can reject that girl. And then eventually in November 2015 he gave the school a complete overhaul. And yeah, honestly, it's very interesting just seeing the development, and these videos are pretty cool. But over time, let's just say that YandereDev has developed quite a negative reputation, which is probably what you're watching this video for. So the question is, do I still like YandereDev? Am I still a fan of Yandere Simulator? Let's just say that YandereDev has, well, been accused for a lot of things, and he has created something that is like huger than a goddamn resume. Like, I mean, oh my god, just look at this. All the things he has to debunk. Like, YandereDev is rude to his fans, and he has to create a freaking essay on each and every single one of these things. Like, that's ridiculous. I mean, I wouldn't doubt it if some of these things, like some of these accusations, were false, but the thing is that if you have like this many accusations against you, something on this is bound to be true, dude. I mean, this is just a freaking lot. Like, YandereDev can't take criticism. No, I have a long history of responding to criticism well, and if you look at a lot of the posts and screenshots that people have shared, he really does not have a positive reception when it comes to reacting to negative criticism. No, that's not to say that he hasn't reacted to negative criticism in a positive way before. I think there was one example on his YouTube page where he proposed a new feature where he proposed a Yakuza beat-em-up style, and then when he did a verdict, he realized that it was a dumb idea. So he does listen to criticism once in a while, but then as of recently, it seems like he's a little bit more cautious of what he does every day. Or not really cautious of what he does, but more cautious of what everyone else has to say, in that he sees criticism as potential sabotage for himself as well as his game. And I think it was like around the 1 year ago he developed the hate and shame video, and this is the point where a lot of people have eventually... I actually like this video, oh my god. I'm gonna remove that like. But anyways, yeah, a lot of people have pretty much discovered a lot of like the stuff that he's done through the hate and shame video, where he pretty much describes himself as someone who has done some negative things in his life, but the gremlins put together a negative stuff that pretty much try to represent everything he is, digging through the trash and such, and, provoke him and whatever. And, this video goes on and on for almost half an hour. And it's like, it's honestly very damn depressing. I mean, this video definitely did get to me, which is probably why I liked it way back in 2008, because I was definitely aware that YandereDev, at least around this time, had a bad reputation when he used to be another user way back in the day before he developed Yandere Simulator. But my thought process was pretty much, it doesn't matter. If it's something that he did in the past, people can move on and improve and whatever. But the question is, does he really improve and move on and such? And in many ways, he kind of seems like he's getting worse. Like, recently, he's been copyright striking certain channels that have said anything bad about him. One channel being The Game Sleuth, where I think he was, like, doing some Yandere Simulator videos, and then he uploaded 2 apology videos, which he has taken down. But those 2 apology videos was definitely him being held at gunpoint, where he eventually said, "Fuck you, Alex Mahan," and then eventually just talking more about YandereDev and such, and then I guess eventually dropping it eventually. But yeah, this poor guy got 2 copyright strikes and was guilt-tripped to do an apology video to avoid a 3rd strike. But I guess Game Sleuth found a way around it and eventually came out and said that Alex is pretty much a manipulative bastard. And then you go to Dr. Apis. Dr. Apis is developing a similar game to Yandere Simulator, which he used to call Lovesick, which is actually going to be the name for Yandere Simulator eventually, maybe. But over time, he eventually changed the name of it to Love Letter. And it seems like the video is non-existent here. There was a video that gave an announcement to the name change, but it looks like he deleted it for whatever reason. But yeah, I definitely look forward to seeing what this love letter thing is, because yeah, it actually looks pretty darn cool. And the one thing that he did say is that a lot of the character models will definitely change over time. Like, everything you see will definitely change over time, and honestly, it looks pretty damn good. It looks like it can be its own standalone game, but of course, YandereDev sees it as a sabotage for, of course, his project, Yandere Simulator. So, of course, he threatened Dr. Apis and whatever, and guilt-tripped him through suicide thoughts, which is, like, definitely something you do not do, YandereDev. I mean, holy shit. But over time, Dr. Apis is like, you know what? Screw you, YandereDev. I'm just going to make this game, change, its name, change the character models to another character that I think he named Bochan or something like that. And, if he does successfully make this love letter game, I definitely look forward to playing it. Does that mean that it has to outwipe Yandere Simulator altogether? No, not necessarily. I mean, it's just a competition in a way. It's another game with a similar idea. A high school student that goes around using murder or social sabotage to eliminate their rivals or people they don't like, or someone who is trying to steal their senpai away. So, similar idea. But the thing is that YandereDev has taken 6 freaking years in developing this game, which, I don't know how long game development goes, and, obviously with someone who doesn't know coding, like me, I just pass it off as, I just hope he knows what he's doing, but it's kind of clear that he doesn't really know what he's doing, or maybe he does know what he's doing, he's just not willing to fix the problems, and when people point out his flaws, he gets overly sensitive about it, and I'm talking about YandereDev here, not Dr. Apis. Dr. Apis is, as far as I can tell, a pretty cool guy, but yeah, and it's such a shame, because I did cover this game on my channel quite a few times, actually. And I did actually 11 videos of it. I'm actually quite surprised that I did that much. So yeah, an introduction with winning over Senpai. And I think these first 4 videos I was playing on my Mac computer, and the frame rate was absolute shit. And then once I eventually played on my new computer, showing the new delinquents and the introduction to the photography club, sleuths, and all that. Sports club, gaming club, cooking clubs, remove students, all this, I eventually had better FPS to run the game. But of course, not everyone is going to have a really strong computer to run, a game like this. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that YandereDev's code is pretty messy. And there's a lot of people that have analyzed the code. A lot of people have said that he uses a lot of else-if statements as opposed to switch cases. Now, being someone who doesn't know coding, I can only get a slight idea of what they're talking about because I have played around in RPG Maker myself. Pretty much an else-if statement is pretty much telling the game, if this condition is met, then have this happened. But if the condition is not met, then do something else. That's pretty much what the else-if statement is. Whereas the switch case, I think the switch case is pretty much switching to a number or something to tell the game the player is at this point of a certain variable of the game or something like that. I don't take my word for it. I honestly don't really know switch cases that much. I have a slight idea of what else-if statements are, but I really have no knowledge of coding. Although there has been some people that have come out and admitted that pretty much the whole else-if statements is not the main reason for the frame rate drops, but rather just the game running too many things at once or having way too many polygonal models or having characters in a lower poly setting, but incorrectly in a way. So they would sometimes stop animations at a long distance or whatever. It has a very inefficient setup when it comes to running for computers that are not strong enough to run a game like this. But honestly, I think it's stuff that can be improved over time if he, finds a way around it, create lower polygonal models and all that. But it seems like he's not really fond of actually making new models, and that's definitely a problem. In fact, a lot of the models in Yandere Simulator are pretty much models that were bought off of a Unity asset store, and that's quite a problem, YandereDev. I mean, it's pretty bad when this whole new face has pretty much become the staple for Yandere Simulator, and you pretty much pass it off as your own when it's not your own. I mean, granted, over time, he has added original assets to the game, for sure, but there's still some assets in the game that still need to be changed over time, like the gym, pretty much almost all the character models, and it's pretty ridiculous. There's a lot of things that he needs to change, a lot of things he needs to improve, and this game is still in development for 6 years. However, it should be noted that as of recently, I'm recording this on August 3rd. It actually will be August 4th in 1 hour from when I'm recording this. He's doing a whole Trello, however you pronounce it, where he live shows his progress for checking all of the core gameplay mechanics, pre-Asana checklist, Asana gameplay checklist, tested all of Asana's related features, and various graphical improvements. And Asana is the very first rival of Yandere Simulator, therefore the tutorial rival. So as you can see, he's got 63% of a lot of the stuff done. So he's tested the befriend betray method, fake and suicide, but he still has to do the matchmaking, rejection, a rival specific elimination method, confirm that it's possible to kill Asana during all scripted events, confirm that all of Asana's scripted events can be functional without Ribaru present, and Ribaru is supposed to be the bodyguard, which some people have picked apart, and honestly, I don't mind the addition of Ribaru so much if it's implemented properly. I mean, if it's still pretty easy to separate her from Asana without causing exploits in the game, then honestly, I'm not going to complain so much. But that's the one thing I hope, is that there's still enough replayability. There's clearly enough replayability. There is a lot to do in the game, yet at the same time, it almost feels like there is not enough to do. And I guess that's mostly because there's not a true rival in the game, and a lot of us just want Asana to be out. And I understand making sure that Asana is polished and all that sort of stuff. Except there's still a lot of other stuff you need to polish, update the models, change the gym, change store-bought assets that you still need to change, and it's ridiculous. It's honestly ridiculous that he still has to do all of these things, and yet he hasn't done them. And, of course, he has to make blog posts where, he's like, well, I have a lot to say about the situation. How much? Well, this blog post is over 3,300 words long and whatever. And, rather than talking about, some of the drama and whatever, he makes up pretty much excuses about of all the accusations that he talks about. And I kid you not, literally every single sentence starts with not even true, 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 not even true. Weird narrative. Okay. Not even true, not even true. And it's ridiculous how he has to debunk so many things. And, an aspect of this has to be true, YandereDev. YandereDev defends pedophiles. YandereDev believes that pedophilia is a sexual orientation. Not even true. People seem to have developed this impression by completely misinterpreting some random remarks I made when I was arguing with someone in 2014. I made those remarks largely because the person who I was arguing with was frustrating me, and I just needed... so I compared mental illness to sexual orientation because they have one similarity, a person who has control of neither of those things, and this was not a statement that pedophilia is a sexual orientation. Okay, so there's obviously questions of whether or not if YandereDev is like a pedophile and whatever, and there's a lot of stuff like saying that, oh, he plays porn games and whatever, which, if he plays porn games and he does porn, so what? He's over 30 years old, he can do porn whatever he wants, no biggie, but the biggie is whether or not if it's, pedophilia. And if it's pedophilia, then that's definitely an aspect that definitely needs to be called out. I mean, no sympathy for pedophiles whatsoever. Like, fuck pedophiles, shoot them in the dick. I mean, seriously. I mean, if YandereDev is definitely a pedophile, then I would have every reason to boycott this game, for sure. But if there's hints that he is, there's not a clear confirmation of whether or not if he is or not. Like that's the problem with this whole YandereDev situation. There's clear moments where he is definitely very toxic. Like he tells someone to go kill themselves out of frustration while streaming a game.
You're a fucking retard, sold out. Go fucking kill yourself, dumb shit. You're a fucking idiot. When you're playing a story game, you gotta pay attention to the story, dumb shit. Eat shit and die, fuckhead.
He tries to guilt trip someone to cancel a game similar to his by pretty much guilt tripping that he's going to commit suicide. He copyright strikes the Game Sleuth's channel. Like, YandereDev is clearly a shitty person. So the question is, should you still support Yandere Simulator knowing, who this guy is? And that's kind of a complicated question. I mean, I think the logical answer would be no, but I think I would have to go with what Jay said when he covered the video about it. Now, this is keeping in mind that Jay pretty much did not really look at any of the YandereDev drama, and for the most part, I kind of avoid it myself, but at the same time, I also have to research about it, so that way I know what I'm talking about. I know what is true, what is not true, and whatever. And when it comes to drama, it is easy to fake evidence. I wouldn't doubt it if there was, quote unquote, gremlins that was purposely ruining YandereDev's reputation. And, I wouldn't doubt that would happen. I wouldn't doubt if there was fake evidence out there that isn't what YandereDev is. But there is evidence out there that he is quite a shitty person when it comes to dealing with volunteers, dealing with people who want to compete with his game, dealing with criticism, and of course, questionable pedophilia here and there and whatever. And, a lot of this stuff just, it's like, yeah, this guy is a pretty shitty guy. Like, this is not a guy you want to associate with. Like, I remember back when I was following the development back in 2015, I was like, oh, I would definitely like to collab with this guy. Too bad I didn't know a thing, too bad I don't know a thing about coding or art or doing models or animations or anything like that. Now it's at a point where it's like, okay, I am definitely glad that I'm not doing anything associated with him. So I guess the main question is this a guy that you should support? No, but does that mean that you should unfollow the game? Well, I think if you're still interested in the game, I don't think it's going to be any harm if you're still following it. It's just, I don't think you should support him on his Patreon. I mean, if he's going to lose Patreons, that should be a clear sign of, like, his attitude. Sure, he's going to blame it on the gremlins and whatever. And yeah, sure, there's no doubt that there's going to be shitty people that are just going to make false accusations or Photoshop to make YandereDev look worse than he actually is. And, you know, I don't support cancel culture, but I do support calling out people who have criminal intentions, you know, pedophilia, trying to, you know, use suicide as a guilt trip, or trying to, you know, or trying to ruin someone's livelihood through legal strikes on their channel and whatever. Like, that is some serious, just, no. Like, just screw YandereDev. I mean, just screw him. So, where does that stand for me? Do I support YandereDev? No. Definitely not. I definitely do not like him after hearing all this stuff, and of course seeing all the evidence that has come out from it. Of course, I'm going to take everything with a grain of salt, because some people can make stuff up, but the stuff that that he definitely can't hide is true. You know, there's just no denying he is a pretty shitty person. So the question is, do I support the game, Yandere Simulator? And that's a tricky question, because even with YandereDev being a shitty person, I'm still interested in seeing what Yandere Simulator has to offer. I mean, sure, the new game Love Letter has, you know, potential of being a better game, but at the same time, as Jay said in his deleted video, it should be like a competition. Like, it should be a competition of who could actually make the better game of, like, the similar genre, the similar idea and such. And, you know, Yandere Simulator is a fascinating concept. It takes, like, a lot of the immoralities that we have played in, like, Hitman, Grand Theft Auto 5, and, you know, so many games where you make immoral choices, but always do it in order to benefit the player or benefit yourself in some way. And, you know, it definitely does raise the bar for what can be shown in a video game, such as violence against minors, which of course is not okay in real life, like, at all. But, you know, it raises the bar of what can be shown in a video game, what can be shown in media, while also proving that this is not making our society more violent. Because, you know, a lot of people are accusing video games as the main reason that we all go violent and whatever. And, you know, yeah, Yandere Simulator can potentially raise the bar to show that people can play this game, but still be very sane, empathetic people in the end. You know, this is just a simple, fun game with a simple strategy of trying to win a boy over by eliminating your rivals. But of course, this is not something that is encouraging people to amplify this in real life, you know. And the game doesn't give you the option of just doing lethal methods. There are non-lethal methods when it comes to dealing with your rivals. And, you know, that's fascinating. So balancing the game, balancing 10 different rivals between either straight up murdering them, using social sabotage to completely destroy their lives, or even like 2 methods where you can actually potentially help them and actually get them out of the way of senpai, so that way you can, you know, get the love of your life. And, you know, it's a fascinating concept, and it's a game that I still do want to see come to reality. Is it a game that's for everyone? Hell no. Should you be interested in it even if you know that YandereDev is a shitty person? Well, if you don't think it's worth it, you know, you don't have to follow it. But I will definitely say that if you want to support it, support the game, not the creator. Because the creator definitely shows that he's not going to improve. He's definitely going to keep blaming, you know, others for his own bad behavior, telling people to go kill themselves and all that sort of stuff, false copyright strikes, and, you know, it's clear that he's a pretty shitty person. But just like J.K. Rowling, you know, just because J.K. Rowling is a transphobic, you know, a-hole and whatever, it doesn't mean that you should dislike Harry Potter altogether. I mean, I don't like J.K. Rowling, but I like Harry Potter. You know, it's kind of similar here. And sure, you can argue YandereDev is worse and his game is not out yet, but so far he seems to be holding on. I think most people in this situation would probably give up on the game altogether, but to his credit, he still keeps on going. And that's something that I do have to admire in some way, is that he never gives up on his passion project. So in the end, do I support Yandere Simulator? That it's kind of a gray area with that. I want to see where it goes. I do want to see it complete. I do want to see YandereDev be able to complete his passion project, and I want the game to, at least be a fun experience in the end. It could still be a bad game, but there's definitely enough replayability and, potential for hilarious moments on YouTube. I mean, there's already been hilarious moments on YouTube through test builds. Like, the Yandere Simulator definitely has a lot of good potential, for sure, even if it does look pretty botched from the start. So, in the end, don't support YandereDev, don't submit to his Patreon. If you absolutely want to support the project, I would say either watch his YouTube videos, for ad revenue, or maybe submit $1 or $2 for his Kickstarter when it comes up. Like, that's only if you want to see the game become a reality. Otherwise, YandereDev's behavior is not something that should be supported, empathized, or given an excuse for him to continue doing these terrible things to these people. I mean, there's a lot of people that are inspired to create a project that is similar to his. There's people that want to see the game, get better. So people want to give him like criticism and whatever, and of course he rejects the criticism as hate and like, you don't understand what I am doing and what you're saying is illogical, so go kill yourself. Like, that kind of attitude is just unacceptable. Very, very unacceptable. So in the end, that's pretty much what I have to say about this drama. I definitely do take, cancel culture with a grain of salt, because it's something that can ruin people's lives, and people can make up evidence that can completely destroy people's lives because, it's just the fun thing to do and whatever. But in the end, there is no denying that YandereDev is a shitty person and should not be supported. But at the same time, I do want to see him complete his passion project, and in the end, it could still be a fun game, or even a fun experience if it is a bad game. So, yeah, honestly, this is a video that I do feel uncomfortable putting out there, because this is one of those topics where you're either, on the one side or the other side. And I hate having to do that. Like, I'm always in a gray area. And when it comes to Yandere Simulator, I want to see it succeed. When it comes to YandereDev, I hope he improves, but it doesn't look like he is going to improve, or it doesn't look like he is interested in improving himself, and that's definitely a huge problem. So in the end, whether if you support Yandere Simulator or not, I don't think is really a big issue if you do. But if you're supporting YandereDev directly or excusing his bad behavior, that's definitely a huge problem.